Most people selling Canva templates are fighting over the same planners and Instagram quotes. However, there are people out there that are quietly making money in solving legal problems, medical bills, and business chaos. If you want predictable income, shift away from selling the same planners as everyone else and start selling stuff that a lot of people need, but not a lot of people are selling. In this video, I'm going to give you 9 Canva templates that you could create and start selling potentially this weekend to make $500 or $1,000 per month. Now, obviously, this is going to take consistency and persistence, but I want to give you these ideas to plant the seed to help give you some motivation, to help you get started and find the success that you're finally looking for. Now, it's no secret, if you've been around this channel, that I absolutely love Canva. I love Canva because you can use it as a tool, a free tool, to help you start making money online. But as I mentioned, a lot of people are focused on the wrong things. They're focused on fitness planners. They're focused on family planners and trackers. While there's still money there if you market it correctly and successfully, I think there's a much easier road to go, a much easier road to hoe, as they say. And let's go ahead without further ado and get into some of these. Now, you might have heard some of these before, but you haven't heard them in the way that I'm going to discuss them. For example, the first one I'm sure you've heard before. You can sell YouTube thumbnail template packs, right? I'm sure you've heard that. I hope you've heard that before. But what most people do is they create generic YouTube template packs and then they try and sell them. What you should do is get very specific. Instead of just doing general, trying to capture everybody and anybody, be specific. Focus on real estate agents, focus on gamers, focus on fitness coaches, or even pastors or finance creators, because each niche inside of YouTube creates thumbnails a different way. And so if you focus only on that specific group of people, for example, real estate agents, their thumbnails are going to look much different than someone that's in the gaming niche. The gaming niche is very vibrant. It is explosive. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on to attract your attention away from the other gaming videos. But in real estate, it's more business and professional. And so if you focus on an individual niche, there are hundreds of thousands of real estate agents out there. Tens of thousands of them will probably want to use YouTube to grow their business. I think that I think that you can be very successful, and this works because YouTube creators, myself included, we want a high click-through rate. The higher the click-through rate, the more people that see our videos. The more people that see our videos, potentially the more money we can make. And it's no different than with a real estate agent. And with templates, it helps people save time and potentially make more money. And if I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. People will buy stuff from you if you can save them time, save them money, help them make more money, or avoid frustration. And that's what these thumbnail template packs will do, is you create, I don't know, a bundle of 10 or 20 of these different packs, and it'll allow the real estate agent to not have to overthink about this process, because YouTube creators know how important it is for a good thumbnail, and so they get stuck in this trial and error trying to create the perfect thumbnail, and you're going to remove frustration. Okay, and what's really cool is you can sell these for like $19 or $1 a thumbnail, and people will buy them, right? And you can go look for yourself over on Etsy. Just search YouTube thumbnail pack or YouTube thumbnail pack for real estate agents, and you'll see that there are lots of people out there that are not a lot of people. There are people out there that are creating these and making money. What I think you should do is I think you should go get the traffic on your own so that you can charge a little bit more money. You can build a real business and make more money off of YouTube than just through YouTube. Okay. And the other thing that you want to think about and why this is predictable is it's evergreen. There's always going to be a new real estate agent out there that wants to get into YouTube, that has been told that YouTube is a great opportunity to grow their business. And you can create YouTube videos showing people how you go about creating the thumbnails, and then say, hey, look, if you aren't interested in spending the time to make the perfect thumbnail, I've got you covered. Check out the link in my bio, and you can buy a pack of 20 for $19, right? So that is number one. Number two is client onboarding templates for service providers. And I think this is really, really important because it helps avoid frustration both from the client as well as the service provider. Back when I first got into making money online, I used to build out 5-page WordPress websites. And one of the most frustrating things was jumping on a call with these guys and kind of explaining the same thing over and over again and walking them through the process. But what you could do is you could actually create a Canva template, and I didn't think of this at the time, where you have a welcome packet. You have an outline of a contract and the deliverables. You have a pricing guide. You include workflow. And for me, I could have included things like, please provide me 5 links to websites that you like. It would have allowed me to get started faster, and it would have allowed them to work more efficiently, because I was having to jump on a 30-minute call in the very beginning and talk through all of this stuff. And it became like kind of annoying because I was doing the exact same phone call multiple times per week. But if you create an onboarding template for clients, service providers for clients, you can help save time and you can avoid frustration because it's structured. Every client gets the same information. Every client hears the same thing, and it allows both parties to move much quicker. So definitely consider that a client onboarding kit template for service providers. It also helps with professionalism. And you can also include a space for referrals, because a real business survives through referrals. And as I mentioned, because it's professional, it increases the perceived value. They say, hey, this guy really has his stuff together, and I'm glad I decided to work with him versus with somebody else, right? And so you can sell these for $27 each, and you can actually do this by niche. So you could create one for photographers, one for consultants, one for social media managers, one's for virtual assistants, one for video editors. You create one for each individual niche, and that's going to give you more opportunity. And you could actually sell these through Facebook ads, YouTube ads, or even through Etsy, which I'm not a huge fan of. But again, this will help people save time and avoid frustration. Number 3, and I kind of talk about this a lot, Instagram Carousel authority post templates for coaches. One of the best ways to get seen on Instagram is through carousel posts. And what you can do is you can go out and create templates which make it easy for coaches to just plug and play, to change, add their picture or add their logo, whatever it might be, and they can get more visibility. One of the best things that you can do is help coaches save time. And I think this actually works out very well if you've got an eye for design, if you're very good at picking up trends over on Instagram, and you can do this for TikTok too. But carousel posts are being heavily promoted right now. They're kind of that bridge between a video and an image post. And so, you go out and you build a template pack of maybe 5 or 10 with different colors, different designs, different aesthetics. You're going to have coaches of all walks of life buying it because it helps save time. Coaches don't want to spend a bunch of time trying to figure out what's working and what isn't working. And so you can alleviate that frustration. And so you're just going to come up with a pre-written framework, a hook slide, a problem breakdown, authority positioning, and a call to action slide. You do that with 5 to 10 different colors or aesthetics, and it'll help with coaches coming up with content. Because one of the hardest things to do as a coach is to come up with new ideas every single day. And if you've been coaching for a long time, you find yourself saying the same thing, and it gets tiring. And you try and find new ways to say the same thing. But if you've got this carousel that you can quickly pull out and upload, it helps save time. It helps save with making another decision, and it increases visibility and helps them make more money, right? And what's really cool about this is I think that you could create templates, as I mentioned, for each niche. So we've got divorce, we've got relationships, we've got weight loss or fitness, mindset, make money. There's so many different coaches out there where you go out there and you create, you could create 100 different variations for coaches and sell them all, which is really cool. And you could sell this for, $27 and start making money. And you can easily do this by creating carousel posts showing your skills and ability, making carousel posts for different coaches. So I really like that idea. But this one, I'm going to be honest with you, it's not something I could do because I don't have a great eye for design. This is someone that does spend a lot of time over on Instagram, knows exactly what works and what isn't working. Number 4, medical bill negotiation toolkit. Yesterday I talked about how the medical industry, the insurance industry, is very difficult on Americans. It can bankrupt people. And there's a thing called in-network and out-of-network doctors. And just not to get too deep into it, but if you have insurance, you have a group of doctors and physicians that are in-network. They will have a reduced, the insurance is willing to cover a portion of the bill when you go see those doctors. But then you have out-of-network. And if you go out-of-network, the insurance company isn't willing to cover as much or any. However, sometimes the specific physician is a specialist he's not in your network, and there isn't one in a local area that is in network that you can go to. And so sometimes you find yourself having to go out of network to find someone to actually solve the problem that you have. And that can be very expensive. Again, this could cause bankruptcy. And so what you could create for someone is a medical bill negotiation toolkit to help get the prices reduced. The other thing that some people don't realize, is that the prices for hospitals and doctor's visits are negotiable. Who knew, right? So initially, a hospital could bill you $10,000 for something. You can call them and negotiate. Instead of paying $10,000, you might be able to get away with paying $3,000. And that's what this medical bill negotiation toolkit can help with. Help reduce the cost of the visit. So this toolkit would include an itemized bill request template that always helps reduce the cost, a negotiation letter, financial hardship script, and a phone call cheat sheet. So that package right there can help reduce the bills 10, 20, 30, 50%. And as I've mentioned, this works because medical debt is massive. It's insane how much Americans can pay for simple procedures and life-saving procedures. And unfortunately, you can't negotiate on life, right? You can't say, oh, I'll wait on this. But the good part is, if you have this medical bill negotiation toolkit, it gives you the opportunity to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on things that you need. It's unfortunate that we've got to come to this, but it is a solution for a problem that many Americans have. And because you're creating the solution, you're creating the itemized bill request template, and you're creating negotiation letters, you can charge $27 for it. And there will be a lot of people out there that need this, whether they're buying it from themselves or they're buying it from their parents. That's another huge opportunity there. Create something to help people like me who had parents that were going through this negotiate their bills. Okay. Number 5, remote work or digital nomad tax organizer template. So basically what this is, if you live in the if you're a United States citizen, but you live in, let's say, the Philippines or somewhere, you still got to pay taxes. And in fact, you might have to pay taxes in multiple locations. Anywhere that you've traveled, you might have to pay taxes. And so what you can do is you can put together a tax organizer template to help people get all of their forms together so that they can pay the IRS. You can help them get their forms together if they have freelancers or if they have employees. For example, I used to hire employees from the Philippines, and so I would have to figure out how much I paid them and then report that for deductions. And if I bought them anything, whether it was a course or software, all of that factors in. And so what you have to do is and what we can include, I should say, in our template is we can include a foreign income tracker, an expense organizer or categorizer, tax deadline calendar, and a residency checklist. So if you spent 3 months in Australia and 2 months in Bangladesh, you got to keep all of that tracked so that you aren't owing the IRS, because the IRS doesn't play, right? As we know, this works because remote work is global. Cross-border taxes can be confusing, even with the use of like TurboTax or H&R Block. And the last thing that anybody wants is to get audited and to lose that audit, right? And so the reason why people will buy this from you is that it solves a very specific problem. It solves a pressing problem. You're going to help people save money potentially by helping them stay organized. And I think you can charge $27 for this, or even a little bit higher, because usually if you're a digital nomad, you're probably making a little bit of money and you're finding success. But if you're looking for a way to get into maybe the finance space, instead of just making videos, how to make money online, things like that, try the remote work digital nomad tax organizer template and go from there. That's a finance niche that has a high CPM. Number 6, really important, something near and dear to my heart, a senior parent medication and doctor visit tracker. As I mentioned yesterday, toward my mom's end of life, we had to keep track, or I had to keep track of the medication, doctor visits. She had multiple doctors in multiple locations. Even here in town, she went to 3 different doctors in 3 different clinics. Some medication had to be taken with food. Some medication could only be taken at night, right before bed. And so it's a lot to manage. And fortunately for me, my sister and my wife are both nurses, and so it was easy for them. For a lot of people, they don't have medical people, medical professionals in their family. And so it's a lot to keep up with. In addition to keeping up with my kids' stuff, keeping up with my stuff, and then now keeping up with my mom's stuff. And so you could put together a tracker that tracks when medication needs to be taken, when refills need to be made. Appointment summary log. That's another thing. When I went to an appointment, doctors would just talk in this upper level, and I had no idea what they're talking about. And so I would try and relay as much as I could, and sometimes stuff just got missed. Side effect notes, emergency info sheet, all things that you could put together inside of this little tracker that you can sell to people that are now parenting their parents. And the reason why this works is there's a lot of people getting old, and there's a lot of people that a lot of kids like me, my age, that are now having to step up and take care of their parents while taking care of their kids. And it creates a lot of stress and a lot of frustration. And if we're being honest, a lot of hesitation, because you don't really know what to do, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know what's right. And so this provides organization. This provides good communication between the siblings and whoever else is interested in learning. So I really like this idea, Senior Parent Medication and Doctor Visit Tracker. It's something that you can put together very simply with Canva. It shouldn't take too long, something you can do in a weekend. And you could actually create a printable or a digital version, sell both to make more money, to increase the perceived value. And another reason why I like this is that it's practical and it's not aesthetic. You don't have to make this look pretty. You just have to put together a template, a packet of things, and sell it to this target audience. Number 7, I'm running short on time, but we're going to try and speed through this. Number 7, small business emergency continuity plan template. Okay. What happens when the owner and the manager get sick? What happens when someone suddenly passes away? Usually businesses are in a free-for-all, especially small businesses that are mom and pop. If they don't have a contingency plan, if they don't have a plan in place where like a secondary key holder to open the door, business doesn't run. And so what you can do is you can actually put together kind of like a little template, a plan for small business owners to keep the business up and running even when the boss or management isn't available. So one thing that you could put together is an if I get sick operations binder, and this is going to be a template. So who's responsible for the second key, or how to open the door, how to unlock the door, how to turn on the basic stuff. It's a standard operating procedure, but most of the time small business owners keep all of the information and knowledge centralized so that partly because of fear. And then you can do a log registry, a client communication plan, an emergency delegation checklist. So you could put together this little packet and then through Canva and then sell it. And as I mentioned, this will work because, and I'll give you a recent example. A restaurant that I frequent pretty often, one of the owners suddenly passed away. And when he passed away through a heart attack, the business kind of went free fall. Some people didn't get paid because it was his responsibility. Sometimes the business opened later because he was responsible for opening. He was the primary key holder. And so what happens when something like that happens? People are in free fall. There's frustration, there's miscommunication. But if you put together a binder and you give it to people or have it somewhere where it can be quickly sent out, you can keep business up and running. Okay. And when you're selling business to business, you can always charge a little bit more, $47. And I think there's low competition here. Also, I think that it would be a great way to get into this market. So you can start selling this through like YouTube and then start helping small businesses with various small business problems. All right. Number 8, and I might have to stop at 8, but number 8, landlord dispute documentation and repair request kit. Now, one of the reasons why Mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani, got elected is because he wanted to start holding landlords accountable. Landlords were often letting apartments go into disrepair. And what you could create to help people, not just in New York, but around the world, come up with dispute documentation and repair requests, right? So if something is broken, instead of just calling and saying, hey, can you replace this or fix this, or sending a text, send out a formal letter so that there's tracking, there's documentation. And if it ever goes to court, if it ever has to get pushed up the ladder, you can say, hey, look, I sent a letter out, I sent an email out on this date and I didn't get a response, or I got a response that said, we'll fix it in 2 weeks, and it never got fixed, right? And so if you decide to take the step of rent withholding, you can point to that letter that you created and say, this is why we're withholding rent, because we didn't have heat for 2 weeks. And so then you can also include things like an inspection log, a rent withholding notice template, and a repair request form, amongst other things, to make sure that the landlord is held accountable. And if it looks professional, if it looks like it's an actual form letter, it does create a sense of urgency for the landlord. It at least gets their attention. It gets you on the list. It might even get you pushed up to the front of the line. And it helps relieve frustration. It helps save time. And it looks like a lot of people are searching for this type of stuff. So you could create this, sell it through Etsy, sell it through Facebook, or even sell it through your content. And your last one, I'm going to go real quick on this one. Number 9, debt settlement negotiation scripts. If you've ever gotten a call, hey, this is a debt collection company, you owe us blah, 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 you can, there's a packet of information that you can create and sell, or people can implement to have the debt waived, to have the debt reduced, or even to have them stop calling you entirely. And so you could put together a settlement letter template, call negotiation scripts, payment plan proposal templates, or even a documentation log. And this will help relieve the stress of debt. This will help avoid the frustration and maybe even the embarrassment of a debt collection company calling your work. You can save thousands of dollars potentially, and getting into their debt niche is really profitable. It's a high CPM. It can help you make lots of money if that's what you're in for. So again, I want you guys to understand that there's a pattern. These patterns solve stress. Remember, people buy stuff from you if you help them save time, save money, and avoid frustration. And that's what a lot of these do. They help avoid frustration. And the great thing is you don't need to do 100 of these. You pick one of these and you go all in for 6 months and look at where the chips fall. Let me know which one of these you are most interested in, which one of these you are thinking about pursuing. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.